big contrast between EnVision and the Goats to start out map 1.
Yeah, I think they both have their set ways. I think Goats wanted to play aggressive and fast with Lucio, and I think EnVision wanted to play like the standard Hanzo at +1. Technically, I guess it was either going to be the Junkrat on Control Center, which is it's very known to have a Junkrat, or the Far, which we did see on Night Mark out of Fisher. Also, just keep in mind, Fisher is still technically like on a trial basis for the team, so they're still trying to figure out who they want to use as their 6. But from the scrims I've been seeing, and from obviously the first map, well, the slideshow that you guys did see, he's been playing really well so far for him.
One thing that's really worth noting there as well is that you want to talk about continuity for EnVision, right? Where we often talk about EnVision being one of the longest lasting cores in the tier 2 scene. A big difference that you're seeing here is that, of course, you don't have Jaru playing, where it didn't affect them too much in the last map, but Jaru is a mainstay for EnVision, or has been in the past. He currently is not playing. He's still on the team, but he is on the depth roster for now, at least in this tournament. So EnVision is clearly trying out new things, but if they went into Contender Season 2 without Jaru, that would be a very significant switch, probably one of the biggest stories of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of like seen as that team to beat. I think they have a lot of pressure on them. I know they've been putting in a lot of work, and obviously with Contenders Trials and stuff, I know a lot of teams out there have been playing on the tournament realm, which is on a different patch than on live. So it's been very difficult for a lot of teams to, you know, keep that separation in your head of like when you're playing that and what you can do, and when you're playing this and what you can do.
We take a look here at the defense coming up. We're going to be seeing an Orisa field defense with a Widowmaker. And this might be bad for the Goats because they're going to be running a Pharah directly into Buds' Widowmaker. And look, the ideal scenario for Buds, just immediately look for Sit and make him sit as he comes out through the top.
It's going to be really difficult to break, especially with the Orisa. Like, I don't see the shield being broken that easily. And when it is broken, it's going to have another one down almost immediately. And then you have Buds and Fisher who can kind of separate, either sit behind the shield and attack, or you can have Fisher off to his side, which is at Hotel right now, and Buds stick with the team. It's going to be very hard to break this. We can see Sit going in immediately. He gets pushed out by the Graveyard. Really good job by him to use that boost to knock him back so he couldn't get there.
It was a nice approach by Sid. I think it's probably the only way you're going to be able to approach a Widow from here, but Buds is still very healthy. Almost gets Zarya to boot, but while this is going on, EnVision isn't paying attention to the point. They've given up a tick and a half here, so now they need to readjust their positioning. Meanwhile, Buds, more aggressive, gets a Kimbo after chunking Zarya on the other end. Now going to be looking for a bit more. Genji in his face, no longer Pharah, and machine gunned right down. Fisher with the support there. And Buds right now, the man to kill, and yet the man who will not go down.
Yeah, I'd say keep your eye on him. I saw him play in that position quite a bit, and he hits so many shots. He's actually not afraid of really anything in that position either. Seeing him take on Widow v Widow battles, but he's gonna move away again, trying to change the angle he's gonna be at so he can't actually be spotted out on. And Sit, most importantly, has to find a way in. It's just so hard to do that when all you have is a Zarya bubble.
Oh
that was
my
a great
God,
use of the halt the dragon.
Just ate 3 people. My word. Damage boosted dragon right down Broad Street.
Yep, they use the Hulk, so like a mini graviton surge where they don't have a Zarya, and then they arrow into it, and that happens. Pretty ridiculous stuff. I mean, it's kind of like standard, but it's also really glorious to see when they can just kind of bypass that ultimate.
And now you see Buds getting more into a groove. Wavy decides, hey, I'm going to climb up this fence, look for an arrow here and there. Oh, I guess I'm dead. Buds gets Sit on the other end. Sit right now is mission impossible. He has to go in on Buds as he has basically an entire security detail around him. Not a fun position.
We need to see them change something up here. I don't even think the Junkrat's going to be that good of a change, because again, those shields come down so quickly. What you have to do is you have to take care of Fisher or Buds, and then you just need to get onto the point, force them to come down to you. You're not going to be able to take that position away from this team unless they make a major mistake.
I mean, one thing, you see Buds way further back and you can go in the hunt. Fisher, though, on the other side, caught a Kimbo from the other end. It's a flanking Hanzo on one side, a Widow on the other. No one to save Gator there. The shield was done, and Buds is ripping apart the backline of the Goats right now. And this double sniper defense just will not be stopped or even really unsettled the way things have been going so far.
Okay, so now they're switching up to a Winston. So they're going like full dive against this comp. That's going to be... it's I think more plausible. It's more realistic, but the problem is you still have Buds and Fisher who can play away from each other, and then you're kind of like, all right, well, you can't dive them both at the same time, and that allows the other sniper to just go ham against you, especially now when they're being seen, and they're gonna take so much chip just crossing to get to them.
Meanwhile, you look at Zen right now. Zen in the sights for Buds going, wait, I can't get over here. Dragon's gonna make room, and the Dragon does most of the damage to Gator there. The Gravy's gonna finish what goes with it. Buds takes a safe position on the right side, EnVision bending back. McGrady doesn't even get demech to where he has to use that, and Buds continues to land the damage from the side. This multi-threat defense for EnVision just has the GOATs thoroughly flummoxed right now.
I mean, they got out of position, but then the drag out of Fisher just completely dislodged them yet again once they did take high ground from them. Then they went down to point, which we did see EnVision finally drop, but that was after GOATs lost 2 players, so it's really like you're not accomplishing too much. Yeah, you've gotten that first third, you've almost gotten 2/3 of it done, but you're not going to have any of your ultimates up realistically in this next fight to get some solid percent down.
They need a miracle here. This is where you'd look to your Zen and go, Zen, please, get a miracle pickoff in the moment. And Sith just dunked on by Buds. Buds saw him coming, gets him down on the side, and Buds, still 200 HP, doesn't feel any worse for the wear. Yeah, you have a Winston diving in the back, but what does it even matter at this point? They got a res off, but EnVision is in full control. They're not able to get on the point. And now EnVision looking towards a very quick 2-0 victory here over the GOATs, as the GOATs have just been outskilled.
I think they're getting outcomped pretty hard. Like they wasted what 2.5, 3 minutes initially trying to make the Reinhardt combo work, and that just wasn't going to do much. They needed to. I almost like want to say they need to go Widow and Hanzo themselves and just outpick the other snipers. Like once you dislodge Buds, who was just constantly hammering away at them, I think he had the majority of the kills, or somehow you run with speed again. Since Fisher was playing so aggressive, you catch him off guard and you take him down right away, and then you can just protect his body, or just have someone, keep an eye out for where Fire is going to be playing with the Mercy and then kill him. They had to take advantage of the placing of Fisher or the position of Buzz to get a kill.
I agree, and I think they put a lot too much into the kill Buds basket early on, which definitely opened up Fisher to have all the room in the world. But one thing I also want to bring up to you is this idea that GOATs clearly had a game plan here of running Farah in the beginning, and they had a set strategy, and then they were forced off of that strategy pretty quickly. When you're dealing with newer and more developing teams, how realistic is it that they have a deeper plan B, plan C, when their first plan gets punched in the mouth, as it did here, where EnVision's just like, oh yeah, you're going to run that, we don't really care. And you saw Sit going from Farah immediately with a Genji, and he had a rough time on Genji.
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, in the beginning, he was by himself. He had a Zarya, so he had a bubble, great. But then again, you had Buds and you had Fisher separated from each other. So if you went for one sniper, Fire's going to be there with the Mercy to heal, Crimzo's going to be with an orb, and then the other sniper would be shooting you. You're just not able to do that on Genji right now, at least at the current way it's being played. So honestly, EnVision did a really good job of dealing with the dive. The Pharah, it would have worked better if they were playing a more defensive position with the Widow and the Hanzo, but because they're so aggressive, there were so many angles to be shot from that Pharah wasn't allowed to get any air superiority.
Well, GOATs looking like they took a few cues here from EnVision for their defense, where they're going to be running double sniper defense themselves, but Buds already in the back looking for sniping shots. Not going to be able to get through the Orisa shield, and yet still looking for it for a gap, and already Storm Arrow striking Wavy from Fisher on the side. Now, Buds only has to worry about one other sniper, and he's looking for tanks right now more than anything else. Here on the side, just being opportunistic, and Sid's taking the fight versus Buds, doesn't have the shield to protect him, and Buds says, I'll take this fight, almost gets Sit down on the other side, and now is flanking him on the other end. Meanwhile, on the point, EnVision's already done enough. They get through the front line. It's going to be a quick take for EnVision.
Yeah, I think he got way too tunnel vision there. He got way too focused on killing Buds, and he got punished because of that. Like, he had the... So Buds was shooting at Sid when he was behind the shield to say, hey, look at me, shoot at me, because you can maybe kill me. Whereas Sid should have been saying, all right, screw you, you do your thing, I have a permanent shield in front of me, and then hit the people on the point to help their ground battle win. I think that was just, you got too tunnel vision on Buds, and then Buds took advantage of that.
I would say there's an even bigger part there too, is that if you think about the double sniper defense and how you're running it, right? You want equal contribution from your Widowmaker and your Hanzo. What happens when your Hanzo dies early? Your Widowmaker needs to carry the rest of the burden, which means that as a Widow, you no longer have the luxury of just trying to kill the other Widow. You then need to carry the burden and provide damage for your team in a way that can conceivably keep you in the fight. But in that case, you saw Sit decide to go, I'm going to go for Buds, but given that they were already down a Hanzo on their end, who was going to support their team with damage and deal with the front line as EnVision just walked up on the point? No one.
And that's what GOAT should have did to Fisher in the beginning on that point. They should have like sped into him if he was gonna play that aggressive. Then again, like I can say that because in the situation it would have worked, but then if Fisher and EnVision recognized that, they could have like backed off and not let the Lucio catch him off guard. But we didn't ever see goats try to take the area from them without a dive, as in rush into the room, go upstairs, and then catch them off guard. Because they tried that so late, Fisher had Dragon Strike up. So if they got tight or funneled into a tight position, then they would have all been wiped out anyways. I don't know. I think that was just kind of a slight misplay in the beginning, and then definitely sipping into tunnel vision on the defense.
The other thing, too, is, of course, going into that final round is that, realistically, you don't see teams full hold all that often in Kings Row. Even if you have just a phenomenal defense, it's pretty rare to be able to defend something like that. So EnVision essentially had goats in check from the beginning of that round, even if they did have a better defense or two to start things out. But let's see, are we taking a break in between games? This is something that
I think we should just for now, to make sure we got everything working and everything going on the technical side.
All right, that is fair. So, guys, we're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, second match of the day, of course, a lot of Overwatch still in front of us here. The Overwatch Beat Invitational Season 4.